This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
I got in touch with you guys due to a YouTube video that I watched about, you call it the ASL, 411 ASL. There's 100 million different, yeah, that one. Oh, you're the guy, huh? You're Richard Howard, huh?
I am.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow, I feel like I'm talking to a TV star. Actually, I think I traded emails with you, and not that it matters, but blah, blah, blah. Which one is the best one for me to get? There's a PML, there's a PSL, there's a PB, BPKL, da-da-da-da-da. I don't know one from the other.
What is the most important goal of this automatic door bottom to perform or to try to achieve?
Air leakage.
Air, okay.
I don't know that it makes a difference, but the threshold that I'm putting it down on is a smooth stone threshold. It's not your typical, made up one. It's made out of granite.
Yeah. Trying to stop the movement of air, is that for temperature or sound?
Yeah. Energy efficiency reasons.
What type of energy? Is it acoustical or not?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
it's front door of my house. It's for heating.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I would go with a 411 ARL. That's going to give you what you need. A 411 ARL, I think it would be really good for your application, assuming you can mortise the door for that.
Yes, I can. I'm just sort of getting the materials. ARL. I'm looking for it here on the website, and I had ARL 411 ARL. There we go. Does it matter what material the threshold's made out of? That doesn't matter, does it?
It does matter, but you've already clarified that it's granite.
Okay. Yes, it is going to be mortised, but the contractor that's going to install the thing, like I said, I'm just getting all the parts and all that kind of stuff. He was concerned about getting into the foam core. It's a fiberglass.
Oh, yeah, the fiberglass door. Yes.
Does that transfer?
Yeah, hang on one second. Let's take a look. You're in Fort Bragg?
Yeah, okay.
I asked you for the catalog cut so I could look at the door construction.
I didn't tell you because I don't have that information because I got this door. It's not like I got it from the neighbor or nothing, but I don't have a cut sheet. It's not like, I don't know. I can't tell the manufacturer.
Okay, well, then if we can't understand the construction of the door, then I think the most vital opinion to take is the one who makes a living doing this work, and that would be your installer. So what happens is when you install a 411, you're going to create a mortise in the bottom of the door, and a mortise is a term that would be when you are basically doing a profile cut, or actually it'd be better to call it a pocket cut, when you're going to run a router bit or an end mill through something, but not cut through the face of it. Right. Because of the height of the hardware at 1 3/8. Let's say that you're going to do a depth of a mortise at 1.5 inches. There's every reason to believe that when you mortise completely through the bottom of the door, you're going to take that structural member, the rail, the bottom rail, and you're going to separate it from the outside to the inside. Right. So you are absolutely compromising the door. At the end of the day, does it matter? Well, I wouldn't want to do it. It wouldn't be my choice. If I was going to do this from scratch, I would be specifying the door to be manufactured with a substantially tall bottom rail so that I could mortise into it without compromising the integrity of that member. And if I didn't have that luxury, I would for sure consider a surface-mounted model to not compromise the door in that way. But if I was still going to do it, and I would, personally, doesn't mean you should, I would get in there with polyurethane after I mortised it to really seal it multiple times, regardless of what the base material is. fiberglass or foam or wood. It should be
Okay.
okay, but it's patently wrong to do this.
Okay, the contractor came by and he took a quick peek at the door, and I would kind of prefer still the mortise mount. He said we can still do that. It's just going to take a little more time because he's going to dig it out. He's going to put new wood in the new rail.
Look at him.
Bottom.
Isn't he a keeper? Good for him.
Oh, okay. So you agree that sounds
Oh, yeah.
reasonable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't have just a handyman there. You've got someone well beyond that. That's really good, which means he's got a specialized tool for doing it as well. That tells me he must do a lot of door work. If he has the ability, if he has the knowledge of what he said, he obviously does a lot of door work. That's good.
Yeah, he's done a lot of doors. Yeah, he's an older guy. It looks like he knew what he was doing, and
Cool.
you know, I'm a DIY guy, and I know enough to know that I'm not good enough to put a door up.
Well, journey of 1,000 miles, right?
Yeah, and 1,000 doors and $100 million.
Well, yeah. So you're like me, every mathematical possible way to make it wrong the first time, I will cycle through that like an odometer on a car. I'll go through every possible reality. But that millionth one, man, it's going to be good.
It's going to be damn good. Okay.
It's gonna be
okay.
Good.
411 ARL. I am 99% sure I want to get that. If I don't, which surface mount would you recommend?
You could take a surface mount and you could do a semi-mortise as well. So you could have your guy do not a mortise. Now we're going to use the term rabbet. He would rabbet the bottom of the door and take a surface-mounted model and make it flush to the face of the door.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll get that lingo, rabbet the bottom of the door and make it flush. Well, I wouldn't use PEMCO, period, but I'm not interested in changing the conversation.
Change that's all you sell here is PEMCO, looks like. That's what your YouTube...
I sell automatic door bottoms from every possible manufacturer.
Well, which one would you use?
I would personally use something from Zero. Zero is the company. Their material is substantial, and I love PEMCO, but their material is known to be a lot more people are going to buy it because it's about half the cost. If it was me, I'd probably look at something by Zero because in the game of absolute robust construction, hands down winner. When it comes to STC control, nobody beats them in terms of having testing data. And the availability of options when it comes to insert and plus, there's a really important feature that they have as well that others don't. They have basically an anti-squeak or thumping sort of provision that when you open the door and the unit snaps back up into the housing, it's muffled because of their construction, their design.
Which Zero model would you recommend?
If it was me, I would probably consider the 367 AA Alpha. 367 Alpha.
Okay,
that's really everything in the kitchen sink. The 365 AA, a little less bells and whistles, one less. But the problem with the Zero item now, when you look at that, it's substantially larger. And I would absolutely want to conceal that if I could, which would mean I would want to use the 360 AA. I would really want that concealed because it's really big. I've had people say, Mike, I didn't realize how big this was. I can't have this on my door. So a 360 AA, if you're going to mortise it, would be a way to go.
360 AA, okay.
360 AA, yes, sir.
Okay.
A lot of surface area, extremely robust, and there's a lot more. And I don't care for Zero nearly as much as PEMCO, only because their lead times are awful. But their tech support is phenomenal, and part of Allegion. Allegion owns Schlage and LCN and Von Duprin and other Class A office properties, if you follow my analogy.
Okay, I'm seeing it here. Okay, God, man, this is just like a whole new world, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I go to the hardware store, and of course they don't say, what the hell's that? They don't know the first thing of anything about it. And so this is, I'm totally with what you said on the YouTube video. This is a very elegant and wonderful solution.
Oh, it is.
God.
Yeah, and it's positively technology that's at least 100 years old. It's just too simple. The empirical reason I would dissuade someone from PEMCO is I have seen lots of PEMCO 4000 series installed. And for some reason, after 5 or 10 years, they just don't work anymore. And the homeowner forgets it's there and does nothing to replace it, service it, figure out why it stopped working. But Zero is the one that's going to go on the school, on the Greyhound bus station, the high volume stuff. Now, that is not your application at all. However,
right.
When you go to sell the home in 20 years, you'd like to have one less thing you have to fix.
Right. I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. I'll pay a little more so long as I get the quality. I want the most bang for my buck kind of deal.
Well, yeah.
Okay, 0360 AA.
Yeah, that'd be a good choice. I would run that up the flagpole with the installer and make sure that it's kosher and go from there.
Okay, sounds real good. Thank you so much. Totally appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So let's expand on that conversation a little bit. I am definitely not here to dissuade someone from using a product that they have called me and said they want to use. However, with the PEMCO product, I have supplied them on jobs, and I've been to those jobs 5 or 10 years later, and it just doesn't work. The insert's gone, it doesn't drop, it's been removed. Why did you remove that? It just stopped working. It got in the way, that kind of business. And in my experience, the PEMCO item is priced in such a way that it's more economical. So as I said on the phone with the client, you'll sell more of them because it's a $60 item and not a $120 item. It just makes sense. But the client asked what I would do. And what I would do, knowing what I know about automatic door bottoms, I'm looking for build quality. I'm looking to do it once and not really have to do it again because I'm making a commitment on the door. I'm either mortising a channel for that width and that depth, which means for that item, or I'm surface mounting it and I'm piercing holes into the face of my door. So I'm committing to that product. Well, if I'm going to commit to the product, I'd like to use something that I believe is going to last as long as possible. Every weather stripping manufacturer, PEMCO or Zero or Reese or National Guard, Dorbin, Combo, PDB, Brian Parker at Parker Door Bottoms in the UK, every one of them is better at something than something else. If it's economy, utility, PEMCO is a great choice. You're not going to spend a fortune, you're going to get something that works. You want something that's acoustically rated and an entire assembly for an STC rating in the 50s, you're going to go with Zero immediately. If you want something made by a company that is extremely active in developing their product line and supporting their distribution with a high-quality product, National Guard is great at that. Parker Door Bottoms. If you want a product that is going to be STC rated, going to be fire rated, going to be a security device, it's going to have really good thermal properties, it's going to be available in a surface mount or a mortise mount. That's a good all-around product all day long. It's actually STC rated, where the PEMCO 411 on its own does not have an STC rating that it's been tested. In order to hit that, you need an entire assembly, like you would with Zero, but PDB's door bottom itself carries an STC rating, because what a lot of people want to do is work from home and muffle the sound from the television on the other side of the wall coming under the door. Well, if you're not going to install giant gasketing all the way around and you want just an automatic door bottom, that's a good option. Reese is a good option too. In my opinion, a little less elegant in how they work, but they have an advantage that others doesn't. Their dark bronze finish is gorgeous. Then you have the conversation about what insert. You can have brush, and you can have silicone, and you can have vinyl, and you can have neoprene. You can have an aluminum bar that comes down, not steel with brush. The client wanted to keep out basically the cold air, let's say. So I suggested the ARL or the RL. It's going to be a synthetic rubber. It's going to have pockets on the inside of it. That's going to help really dissuade, the transfer of that energy through it. Good all-around item. You can buy that replacement insert. The material with the Pemco material, I had suggested the 360. That's going to be an open cell synthetic neoprene, but when you look at that, it's a lot thicker, and we'll switch over to it. But there are others that are closed cell neoprene as well, more like car tire. So that'll be really good for keeping water out. Don't know if that's the option. The problem with the bigger unit from Zero is that it's physically larger, a lot more mortising to do, and would certainly, if I put a force gauge on a door with a Pemco item and one with a Zero item, probably going to take more force to get that door to the closed position with the bottom dropped. Will you really notice that initially? Possibly. Will it be something that you can't get accustomed to? No, you'll get accustomed to it. Because after all, these automatic door bottoms are installed on doors with handicap closers, which means 5 pounds of force. So no long-term big deal. Let's switch to the screen view and let's just take a look at some of these items and also the tool that the installer might be using. Okay, let's take a look at the initial item. I think the client asked for a 411 ASL. I said the 411 ARL. Let's take a look. So I'm going to give you an insert. This rubber insert I think is going to be great for just keeping out air. It's going to work really great. This is a mortise mount type of style that's going to be here. The sizes I had given the client, you're going to need to do a mortise in the bottom of the door for this. Probably, 5/8, 11/16, no bigger than that. Inch and a half, I would say. Installation instructions are here. It's basically, they don't really tell you much, except measure twice and cut once is the moral of this story here. The 4131 may have been the equivalent by Pemco for a surface mount. Yeah, 4131. Now this you're going to surface mount or you'll mortise it. They say semi-mortised. I hear you. You're really creating a rabbet in the door edge is what you're really doing. And let's just take a look at what each of those is going to look like. Let's go with a piece of material that's 1.75, 36. Let's just say that it's 2-inch. Okay. So this is what the bottom of the door, if you were to take the door looking at it in plan view and cut it in half, this is kind of what I think it would look like. So if we were going to do a mortise in the bottom of the door, let's say just for argument's sake that mortise is going to be 1.5 inches. 1 3/4 minus 1.5 inches is 1/4. Actually, let's just say it's 1 3/8. So 1 3/4 minus, oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking the wrong dimension. Let's say that the width was 5/8 wide. 1 3/4 minus 5/8 is 1.125, which is going to leave us at 9/16. So let's have a guideline here, create a second guideline, and there's going to be a point of me doing this. I've got a couple of guidelines here. Now I'm going to draw a rectangle. Let's get this rectangle where I want it to be. Okay, so what I've created here is just a rectangle. Well, that rectangle is going to become a vector, and I'm going to select that vector. Now it's kind of highlighted, so to speak. Now what I'm going to do is call in my toolpath, half of the CAD/CAM software, which is VCarve Pro by Vectric, and I'm going to pocket this out. I'm going to use a cut depth. We're going to go to 1.5. We'll start at 0. We're going to cut to 1.5. Let's select a tool. We're going to go 5/8 wide. I don't have a 5/8 wide bit in my tool database, nor do you have it in your toolbox, but let's just assume that you do have a 1/2 inch 2-flute router bit. We'll just use this one. Select. Let's get rid of the 1/16 of an inch bit there, and we'll calculate that. Now we've created a tool path. I told it to do a depth of 1.5 inches, but what's our material thickness? I've forgotten what that is. Alright, I told it 2 inch. That's good. what that means is it's not going to blast through the item. Now let's preview that tool path. Alright, so it's simulating this tool path, although very slowly. I think the software's thinking about it. Okay, so I had the simulation quality set to maximum, and it was crushing my computer. So let's just send it to very high. Doesn't really matter for this application. But also what I've done is I had the thickness at 2-inch, not thinking that it would actually work. So let's change our material setup to 84. So what we're doing is we've got a 36-inch by 84-inch door, 1.75 inch. Let's click OK. Now let's take a look at our vector. I changed the vector where I'm running it long off the piece so that the bit actually exits the work, and what I'm trying to show you is what a mortise would look like. So let's highlight the vector. This vector is 5/8 wide and 36.5 inch long. 5/8 wide and 36. That's the kind of toolpath necessary to get that automatic door bottom installed. So we're going to cut it to 1.5 inches deep. We're going to use a 1/2 inch end mill, and let's calculate that. It's called pocket 3, doesn't matter. The door is upside down here, just the way that it's shown. So let's just reset this, and I'm going to run the simulation. I'm going to slow it down though, so that we can get a look and see exactly what it's doing. Now this is set to really slow. I don't know how many passes we're doing. It looks like we're going to do maybe 4 passes. I can control how many passes this is going to go through the work. It's a 1/2 inch end mill, and we're doing a 5/8 wide bit, so that's why it's cutting it in this sort of fashion. That's ramping. It's zigzagging a ramp in, lowering the bit, and then it really starts to take off a little bit faster. That can be controlled as well. This isn't a tutorial on CAD/CAM software. I want to show you what a mortise would look like in this door. So let's speed up the process here, just so that we can get a finished job. All right, maximum revolutions on the shaft, on the propeller. We're about halfway done of this simulation. Then we're going to get up close and look at that. Zigzagging in again. There we go. Now we're at our maximum depth. I know that because I can see the depth in the lower area here when I hover over 1.5. Okay, we're done. So that's what the door looks like in elevation. Obviously the door is upside down. If I flip it around, that's what we're doing. That's what this is going to need to look like. That's a mortise. Now let's draw a rabbet at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this vector. Actually, we're going to draw a new vector. Let's take our vector and let's just move it to a layer, new layer. Layer 2 we'll call it, no problem. That vector is now on layer 2. Okay, so from layer 1 I can delete it. Now let's do this. Let's draw a new vector that is going to just represent a semi-mortise sort of prep. I don't remember the thickness of the automatic door bottom. Let's just look. 4131. Okay, so it's 1930 seconds. So 1 divided by 32 times 19. Yeah, about it is 0.59375. All right, so let's do a vector, rectangle. Let's anchor it to the lower left-hand area. 0, 0 is the anchor point. It's going to be 0.59375 and 36.5. Perfect. 18.3. Yeah, we're good, I think. We're good enough for the purposes of this illustration. So we've got this new vector. Now let's change our material setup. We're going to make the width 36, the Y 84, and the thickness 1.75. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, great. Now let's take our vector, let's rotate it, and then let's close. Yeah. Okay. This will serve. Now we've got a vector down on the bottom of the door. Let's close this. We've got the vector selected. Let's do a pocket path. Our cut depth is going to be 0.59375. We'll use the same end mill. Let's make our passes 5 so we can watch it. Let's take a look and see. Yep, much better. So this is going to be basically 1.84 inch tall. It's going to be 0.59 deep. And this is how I would mortise the door. I would rabbet the door. But at the end of the day, this is what the edge of the work will look like. Pretty neat. That's what it's going to look like. That would be your Rabbet if you're going to surface mount this. Okay, so let's talk about the tool that I had mentioned. I didn't say it, but it would be a stylizer if you're going to mortise that. So the stylizer, I think I own it, but I don't think I have it in here. I don't. Well, I would buy the stylizer from Norfield. Let's go to their site and take a look at that tool. Stylizer, here it is. So I don't believe this includes a router, but you clamp this tool, down to a router, and this is what you end up doing.
Norfield Industries presents the MFG 77000, the Masterline Stylizer. The Masterline Stylizer is a clean way to restyle and re-rail doors. This kit includes a 3 1/4 horsepower quarter cable plunge router, stylizer fixture, and a 3/4 inch router bit. The guide angle can be positioned for either 1 3/8 or 1 3/4 thick doors. Maximum mortise depth is 1 1/4 inches. To begin, place your fixture on the edge of the door. After turning the router on, make one complete pass from one edge of the door to the other. The router bit cut is made, removing half of the existing rail or stile so that just the skin remains. Repeat this process on the other side of the door. You have now completely removed the existing rail or stile, leaving just the skins behind. You are now ready to install your new rail or stile. Begin by placing wood glue inside the skin. Now insert your new stile or rail.
Now you see there's a bit, okay, so yeah, a little bit of editing there if you notice. It's hanging out, hanging out, hanging out, hanging out, hanging out, hanging out. Hammer, okay, so there's a little editing there. Now it's flush.
Mount the skins to the new rail until the glue is dry.
If you're doing a full-size door, you're not going to do it like this. Okay.
You've now completed the re-railing or restyling of your door.
Meaning the door will be laying on its face.
Stylizer.
Okay, so the bottom line is you would want that rail sticking out. Not sticking out in the sense that you're going to trim it. You'll want the rail or the stile flush to the edge of the door, because the only thing that you'll end up having to do most likely is planing the door or sanding the glue off the edge of the door or running it on a table saw, sliding table saw, whatever you have. If you're doing multiple doors at once with the stylizer, You're going to want wax paper between the doors because the glue is going to run out after you attach the clamps. As they did, I most absolutely would not use these clamps. You're going to want a proper mechanical clamp. This is going to come loose. And you'll need to put a lot more pressure on there than what these will allow you to get. Also be mindful that you really need to create your wood, plane it to the right size so that the door is absolutely the proper thickness in this area here compared to here. Okay, that is everything I have to say about this. If there's any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.